What is the one thing that takes your idea from premise to plot? It is your protagonist. And why is this, you ask? Let me tell you. Hey writers, welcome to Writers Group Recap, the weekly show where I go over the main points we discussed in my NorCal writing group in 5 minutes or less, so that you can get all the information you need and then get back to writing. So let's get started. This time in Writers Group, we talked about characters. Why are characters so important? That's because characters are the thing that take you from basic premise to an actual plot where things happen. Your protagonist is the main character, and the protagonist is that person through whose lens everything in the book can be seen. And they're also the person or the thing that drives your action. So your protagonist is going to be an active participant in the whole journey that's happening in your book. What is a protagonist exactly? They're not just a perfectly ideal person. Just because we're saying protagonist and the fact that you're supposed to be pulling for them doesn't mean that they have to be sheer perfection. That would be very boring to read about. But they do have to be somebody that you can identify with and that you can sympathize with and that you understand their motivations. So that's one very important thing. Your protagonist has motivations that are based in the real world. They're kind of, universal things that they're looking for. For example, a desire to be accepted, or a desire to feel at home, or a fear of losing something that means a lot to them. You need to make the motivation extremely simple to understand for your readers. You know how sometimes we say, don't tell the reader everything? This is not one of those cases. Your reader needs to be heavily invested in what motivates the protagonist. Just because the motivation has to be clear doesn't mean that it has to be clear in your character's head. Maybe the protagonist wants something that's not really good for them, or maybe they sense that they want something and it's driving them, but they don't quite understand why they want it, or they don't know how to get it. You can also have something that was valued by your character be threatened, something that was dear to them disappear. The external goal is going to mirror the internal motivation of your character. Your character must be active rather than have things happen to them. They have to be actively questioning, searching, moving along, because they have to go through a character arc. But whenever they're doing that, the stakes have to be constantly raised. And how do you do that? First of all, you establish that by having your protagonist be somewhat unequal to the quest that they're embarking upon. They have a lot of weaknesses that are going to prevent them from doing what they want. The reader wonders if it's ever going to work out for them. And also there are going to be the other obstacles that we're going to throw their way. One of those major obstacles, other than, twists and turns and physical obstacles, is going to be other people. And the main other person is going to be your antagonist. We're going to talk more about the antagonist next week, but for now, keep in mind that the antagonist needs to be a worthy opponent for your protagonist. They really need to match them in terms of their intelligence, their strength, and everything else, or surpass them. The protagonist is your character who has the most opportunity for change throughout your book. So this arc that I mentioned, they definitely need to undergo it to keep interesting and relevant. So they're going to start off at point A with their qualities that they have and their weaknesses that they have. And then they have this search that they're going on, or this journey that they're going on, and they're going to go through all of these changes in their fundamental character until they get to point B, where they've been changed by everything they just went through. One last thing that I could recommend for you guys to do is, why don't you do a character worksheet? Your character worksheet is going to help you to fill out all of those traits, from physical to psychological, to their background, their education, their schooling, who their parents were, what their favorite food is, what they wear, how they act, how they speak, how they walk, their strengths, their weaknesses, if they smoke, they don't smoke, they drink, they don't drink, all of that good stuff. If you look online, there's a bunch of different online forms that you can download and fill out so that you know all of these traits, even if they don't come out completely in your book, you'll still have them in the back of your mind and your character will seem all the more sophisticated and complex. So that's it, you guys. If you have any questions, don't forget to post down below and catch us next time for Antagonists. Also, don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an important piece of information that you need to keep you writing. Thanks again. See you next time.